Good afternoon. My name is Mukam Taman, and today I'm going to talk to you about a disease that is threatening to rob all productivity workers of their passion and their productivity. This disease is called emailitis. In medical terminology, the suffix itis indicates the inflammation or the enlarging of an organ. So we have bronchitis, enlargement of the bronchi, arthritis, enlargement of the arteries. In that same vein, I define emailitis as an artificial inflammation of electronic mail in the life of a productivity worker, primarily brought on by using email for a purpose for which it is ill suited. Like every self respecting disease, emailitis has symptoms. We look at three of these symptoms. Thereafter, we shall examine the causes that lead to this disease, and we shall conclude by discussing some principles and practices that would be your first step in digging yourself out of the hole that is emailitis. So, what are the symptoms? The very first symptom you notice is you look down at the icon of your email application, and the indicator of how many mails are yet to be read shows hundreds or even thousands of emails, and it's been that way for more than a year. Do you really have 1,000 emails or even 100 emails that you can't read for the past 6 months? That is the first symptom you know that you're suffering from this disease called emailitis. The second symptom is you open your email application and your inbox is a long list of emails, both read, both unread, the junk, the starred, and the labeled, all of them in a massive jungle of confusion. That is your second hint that you're suffering from emailitis. The third symptom is if you get an inkling that your computer has crashed and you might have lost your email, if that kind of information almost prompts a heart attack, a mild heart attack in you, then you know that you might be suffering from emailitis. So, now that we've looked at the symptoms of emailitis, let's consider the factors that cause this disease. Like I mentioned earlier, fundamentally, emailitis results from the fact that we attempt to use email for purposes for which it is ill suited. For project management, for example, when we attempt to keep track of tasks and reference information about the project in an email, it just does not scale. If we try to use email as a document collaboration system, send Microsoft Word document attachments with edits to and fro, it just does not scale. If we try to use email as a brainstorming tool, it just does not scale. And all of these contribute to the disease called emailitis. For a small number of people, say 2 to 3 people, for small projects, for light, not very serious brainstorming, for light document collaboration, email might be a mediocre solution that works. But as the number of people involved in these endeavors gets bigger, email becomes a problem, and it leads to the disease called emailitis. So, we get the disease of emailitis when we attempt to use email for a purpose for which it is ill suited, and we do this in a sustained manner. Now that we know the factors that cause the disease, let's turn our attention to how we can get out of this. The first thing you need to understand is that there are only 4 things that matter about email. The email is unread, and it doesn't matter who it is from. The fact that it's unread and in your inbox, it demands a bit of your attention. Secondly, it has been read and some action is required on our part. Thirdly, it has been read and some action is required by someone other than us. And fourth, the information in the email is not actionable, but it's information to which we might want to refer in the future. in order to start getting out of this email, I'm going to propose that you only need about 5 containers for email. Those containers could be labels in Gmail, or they could be folders in other email applications. The first container is what we call your inbox. Your inbox only holds email that has not been read. You have another box called the action. All emails that you've read and require action on your part that cannot be done in less than 2 minutes will go into action. The third one is called waiting. All emails that you sent out to someone or forwarded to someone and expect them to get back to you with a response go in the waiting. Reference is a folder in which you keep information that you might want to refer to at some point in the future. And lastly, everything else. Every email that you've treated goes in there. You just need those 5 buckets, nothing more. So, your daily email habits will go something like this. Schedule time for doing email. I do it twice a day, at 11:30 and 4:30 in the evening. And I do it for sessions of 1 hour. You start in inbox, read everything one by one. If the email is just junk, delete it. If it requires action on your part that can be done in less than 2 minutes, do it there and then. If the action will take more than 2 minutes, you move it into your action folder. If it's going to require action from someone else, you forward it to that person and move it into your waiting for. That is if you expect the person to give you feedback. If it's information that you might want to refer to in the future, you put it in reference. After you're done, you now move to your inbox will be empty. All of those emails either will be in action, one of the other boxes. You now move to action. Now the action list contains emails whose response requires some action on your part that is going to exceed 2 minutes. Typically, those should go on your to-do list and you treat them. Once you're finished with that action, you remove it from to-do into everything else. And thirdly, you go to waiting for. You might want to send reminders for what is, to remind people that they were due to get back to you on something. If you engage in this simple habits, 5 containers for your email, you use filters really well, and you stop using email for purposes for which they are not suited, you will have started your healing from this disease called emailitis. Thank you very much.